I bond yield. Tough to go wrong. I must have received 10 emails in the last couple of days from people talking about what my thoughts are on this. Man, buy them up. Absolutely. You're only limited to, what, $20,000 a year, so absolutely buy them up. And then this morning I came across this article. I said, let me share with you guys by my man Michael Lebowitz, something like that. I bonds at 7%, hard to go wrong. And we'll just see what old Michael says. I've done videos on I bonds. I got a couple videos on I bonds, which obviously you haven't watched. If you're emailing me about my thoughts on I bonds, that means you haven't watched all of my videos. I only have like 5,500 videos. How could you not watch them all? Very, very disappointed. Not cool. I'm just going to read what he says because I think this cut to the chase pretty good, actually. Just 7% risk-free I bonds interest you. Yes, and they're finally getting a lot of attention in the bond world. I've been in this business a long time. I bonds, inflation bonds, I've never paid much mind to, ever. I don't think anyone has in the investment world because you don't get paid commissions on them from the financial advisor. And B, you can't put much money into them. So it's kind of like, yeah, they're out there. They're I bonds and the other one, not zeros. I'm trying to blank what the other ones are. Oh, savings bonds. Savings bonds are fantastic too, but because you can't get paid, they're not that. Financial advisors have no incentive to talk about. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right. Series I bonds are issued directly to the public by the Department of Treasury. They pay a coupon that is added to the principal and is adjusted for inflation. So remember, the reason they call them zero coupon bonds, in the old days, you'd take a piece of paper, right, like this, and you'd have these coupons. The old days of bonds. So you have this coupon, and it'd be a coupon. Pay holder $100. So you rip it off, you say, here you go. And you give that back to the issuer and say, here's my coupon for my $100 of interest. So that's a coupon. That's why I call it a coupon. What is a coupon on a bond? This is literally what it is. It's pretty interesting. Zero coupon bonds meant there are no coupons. You're basically buying it at a steep discount right now, and it'll mature at a certain amount. So you're saying, I'll buy $650 of a zero coupon bond, and it'll mature at $1,000, if that makes sense. Let me let Stinky McGinky out. And that's the way the old bond market worked. You had a bond. This is the certificate of the ownership of the bond. You had these coupons underneath there, and you literally ripped the coupon off and give it back. And that would return, you get an interest payment. The coupon, interesting. And then we have zero coupon bonds that are not like that. And then you have I bonds, which just like Michael says, the coupon is added to the principal. You don't actually receive an interest for it. It's added to the principal, if that makes sense, and is adjusted for inflation. So let's see. How do I bonds work? They currently have yields ranging from 7.12 to 10.85%, depending on when the bond was bought. Let's see. 10% I bonds bought. Look at that. Bought in 2000. So as inflation goes up, isn't that crazy? As the principal is adjusted with inflation. Isn't that nuts? The pay a coupon is added to the principal and is adjusted for inflation. So as you can see, these older ones are, because inflation is kicking in, are paying 10.85. These newer ones right here are only yielding 7.12. Only. Fixed rate right here. So back then you got a fixed rate of, what's that, about 3.75. Here you got a fixed rate, nothing. Isn't that nuts, man? Crazy. But the current rate by purchase date. So if you've been buying I bonds for the last, 12, 13, 14 years or so, you've been averaging current annual rate by purchase date. What's that? 7% a year. Again, you only could put 10,000 a year in, 20,000 if you're married, but why would you not do that? I don't get it. Anyway, they pay an equal sum. Let's see, the coupon of an I bond. Remember we talked about coupon. Pays the equals the sum of the fixed rate, which is the blue. So remember the fixed rate over here is 3.75 plus the current inflation rate. So the current inflation rate here is what, 7.12, I guess. Yeah, 7.12. Look at that. So you got 3.75% fixed rate in 2000, plus you're getting the higher inflation rate right there. And then it's crazy. Now these have no inflation, no current rate. They just have inflation rate, the current issued ones. The fixed rate set by the Treasury is loosely linked to the Fed funds rate. And again, that's basically nothing, but it's soon coming up. And money market interest rates. As the name states, the fixed rate remains fixed. So these guys who bought these bonds in 2000 are getting looks like 3.75 for the life of the bond. Isn't that crazy? The current fixed rate is 0, but has been high as 3.6. The inflation rate is equal to the CPI and resets every 6 months. Inflation rates is reset in May and November, but the coupon of iBond changes at the varying times depending on the purchase month. They add their coupon amounts to the principal value, whereas most bonds pay a cash coupon. For example, if you purchase an iBond with a 5% coupon, which we're not because they're paying no coupon right now, but we'll just use that coupon for an example right there. For example, if you purchase an iBond with a 5% coupon, the bond's principal will be $1,050 the next year. Assuming the coupon remains at 5% in the second year, the holder receives 5% on the new principal value, not the original, like most bonds. Exactly. So you receive compounded coupon. You receive 5% on the new $1,050, unlike the original. So again, with other bonds, you got $1,000. So you got a bond. It's $1,000. You're going to buy it for $1,000. It's going to mature at $1,000. You're getting a coupon of $50 every time. $50, $50, $50. There's no compounding or anything like that. iBonds, on the other hand, they do. I hate saying compounding, but it's kind of like that. You're saying, look, I'm getting 5% not on my original $1,000. I'm getting 5% on my new principal. Compounding. It's not quite the same as compounding like with dividends in terms of, well, I guess it could be actually. Well, either way. All right, to appreciate compounding, consider the benefits of holding the iBond for 10 years that pay 5% each year. In year 11, the principal will be worth $1,600. Not too bad. The interest payment, the amount in year 11 would be $81.50, which is $30 over what you initially got for interest, unlike regular bonds, which just pay the flat coupon. iBonds can only be purchased directly. Yep, there are limitations on the amount of iBonds you can buy. The maximum you can buy is $10,000 per year. All right, you can buy iBonds in $25 increments from the Treasury Department. I didn't even know that until just right now. I thought you had to have a minimum of $1,000. I guess not. That's pretty cool. There's an annual purchase limit of $5,000, so one can buy up to $15,000 if you use tax refunds and a $10,000 purchase. They have a 30-year maturity, but can be redeemed any time after the first year. There's a penalty of the last 3 months of interest if you redeem the bond before the 5th year. They're federally, but not on state taxable. Not state taxable. Okay, so you pay federal taxes, but not state tax. Tips. That was the other one. Tips, another one. Difference. There are no limitations on tips. Tips holders are not subject to early redemption fees. You buy tips directly from the Treasury. Unlike iBonds, almost all stock and bond brokers sell them. Yep. So tips are much easier to buy and sell than iBonds, and there's no limitations. From a liquidity perspective, tips are the better option. From a return perspective, there are differences between tips and iBonds worth considering. Tips have a fixed rate and an inflation rate, like iBonds. Tips bonds pay the fixed coupon every 6 months based on the principal value. Interesting. This feature may be advantageous for those needing income versus an iBond with a coupon accrues. So with tips, you're literally getting a coupon that you're getting each and every 6 months. So tips pay the coupon rate every 6 months based on the principal value. That's interesting, but still a compounding amount. Interesting, right? Because the principal can change. That's interesting because they have a fixed rate and inflation rate. Let's see. As iBonds accrue the coupon into the bond's principal value. Okay. The coupon tips. Okay, never mind. So the coupon tips is paid to the holder, so it doesn't. But the inflation rate accrues as principal value. Okay, gotcha. So what's happening here is with the iBonds paying 5%, you had $1,000 iBonds be worth $1,050 next year. It'll be $1,050. Gets the 5%. It'll be worth whatever that is compounding. The tips or the coupon is paid out. That's the difference. But the tips, the principal changes with inflation, as does the iBond. So that's the difference. But the tips, you just get the interest. It doesn't kind of reinvest, if that makes sense. All right. Deflation can reduce the principal amount of tips to its original principal value. That's interesting, huh? So in a period when deflation rate is more than the fixed rate, iBonds will yield nothing. That's the worst case scenario. The effective yield on the tips can be negative, though. While tips holders will still receive the coupon, again, the coupon, The bond's principal can erode more than the coupon and decline back the original principal. That's interesting. Tax difference, I'm not going to get that right quick. Look, I think there's a huge, I don't know why anyone would not, and you can read this article, he doesn't have the charts up there. Should I buy an I bond? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why would you not buy it? I don't, it seems like a no-brainer, but there's a catch. You must give up the last 3 months of interest if you redeem it after the first year before the sixth. That doesn't bother me. All right, the data for comparable bond yields is from Schwab. The corporate junk rated option represents the I. Okay, yeah. So basically, they're okay. The CPI has to fall below 3% in the following 6 months to make an investor indifferent between a 1-year junk bond and the I bond. The I bond is risk free, while the junk bond is far from it. But of course, the 1-year junk bond is only 1 year. You'd want to buy the I bond. So look, I like I bonds. I've never bought one. I didn't know you could buy in $25 increments. I don't know that much about them, frankly, because again, most people don't buy them. They're the redhead stepchild of the investing world. But you got a couple $100, a couple $1,000, up to 10,000. Buy away. All right. Hope this helps. We'll see you.